Want to share your D&D stories with the world? Then why not show off your amazing world building, engaging plotlines, and lovable characters with a podcast? I'm Janet from World Anvil, a pro D&D streamer, and today I'm talking about how to take your D&D campaign from the tabletop to the airwaves with the very first steps of creating your own D&D podcast. Since you're creating a product for other people to enjoy, it's important that you provide audio that is crisp, clear, and good quality. Even if you're playing pirates, it's not great if your whole podcast sounds like it was recorded underwater. So the most important thing you'll need is a good microphone, preferably one per player. There are a variety of mics available at different price points, and we've added a bunch in the description below. Next, avoid recording in rooms with lots of noise pollution. Close your windows and curtains when you record to reduce noise from outside. If you can, give your room a proper sound treatment. A low-budget solution for this is hanging blankets on the walls and using rugs on the floor. It will help reduce the amount of echo. Basically, cover all the hard surfaces that you can. And finally, don't forget about music. The best way to add this is during the edit phase, where you can more closely control the levels. But knowing what you'll be using ahead of time can help you record your segments better. If you're releasing a podcast, you'll need to find either royalty-free music or commission it. If you're looking for royalty-free music, check out our album, Embers of Inspiration. I've put that link in the description too. After recording your episode and getting audio from all your players, it's time for editing. I'm not going to provide a full editing course here, but here are some pointers to get you started. Number 1, sync your tracks. Since your players may have started and finished at different moments, you'll need to check that you have synchronized them properly. A quick solution to make this easier is to have a countdown before pressing record. This way, the delay will be minimal. Or if you play with webcams on, you can all clap sync. Where you record your screen and clap, you can match the audio to your video, even if your podcast is only audio. Number 2, remove your background noise. If a player coughs, their chair squeaks, there's an ambulance in the street, or Cthulhu bursts through the wall, mute that player's noisy track for that section. Number 3, remove stuttering. D&D is improv, and it's common to stutter, pause, or misspeak. It happens, and that's what editing's for. To offer the cleanest experience for your audience, remove the ums and ahs that you can find, especially if there's a lot of them in the same sentence. If you restarted a sentence while recording, remove the first try and leave only the one without stuttering. Then why not show off your amazing world building? Amazing? What's amazing? It's like amazing with more magic. Number 4, consider censoring swearing. Depending on your tone and your target audience of your podcast, you can bleep out your swear words. Something to think about. Number 5, consider cutting out long or boring bits. This, of course, depends on your editing style and what you decide as a group. You could cut out certain mechanical moments which slow down the game, like initiative results or rules discussions. Or you could shorten conversations that take too long. See what flow works best for you and your group. And finally, after all these changes, make sure your tracks are still properly synchronized. It's important, guys. Editing is usually the most time-consuming part of creating a podcast. You can always share this out across your players to keep the workload light for all of you. You only have to see the difference between Critical Role and Vox Machina to see that D&D needs to be altered for different formats. For example, most people don't have the patience to sit through a 4-hour podcast episode without pauses, while you might easily do that in your home game. You can cut a single session into 2 or more episodes when you're editing. But if you do that, you'll need to make sure that something important happens in every episode. Another thing you need to keep in mind is pacing. Of course, this is important in regular games too, but your players won't leave the table just because an encounter is taking too long. Your audience might. The burden on this, though, doesn't just fall on the GM. Your players should talk clearly, avoid talking over each other, and be quick at taking decisions. I know it sounds like the dream game, but all of this will take your podcast episodes to the next level. Most sessions have discussions about rules at some point or another, especially with rules-heavy RPG systems. Mostly though, your audience is there for the story. They don't want to hear your group arguing about dice. If someone asks a rules question during the session, try to come up with a quick answer and check the manual afterwards. Or discuss it as usual and cut out that section in editing. Combat scenes tend to have the most rules discussion. Initiative, combat moves, class abilities, spells, action, economy. If your players get stuck with the rules, experiment by adding a timer. This can force them to be quicker and skip some of the rules talk. If you've been playing D&D for a while, you're familiar probably with the concept of a session 0. Well, if you're doing a D&D podcast, you will probably have to have them frequently. Knowing that your game is public might add pressure on your players, and they might feel an obligation to keep playing even if they're not enjoying themselves. You don't have to have a 2-hour conversation each week, but do check in once in a while out of game to make sure your players are still enjoying themselves. Pausing or even ending the podcast is always an option, and having fun is the most important part. It'll show through into the quality of your podcast too. If you're having fun while playing, your audience will have fun too. And once your podcast is uploaded to your chosen platform, there are a ton out there, we use Libsyn, make sure you publish your characters and world lore, interactive maps and timelines on World Anvil so your audience can dive in. You can embed podcast episodes to create a complete hub of all your material and even add Patreon buttons. And there you have it, 5 top tips to take your campaign from tabletop out into the big wide world. Now grab your hammer, hit record, and go world build.